Okay, so we are on chapter 11 today. I don't really want to repeat stuff from chapter 10. I'm assuming you studied and learned this stuff. Chapter 11. This book is sort of haphazardly organized. It's just whatever I thought was most useful, I put towards the beginning, because you sort of have more energy when you're starting to study something. And so I put what I thought was the more common vocab towards the beginning, the more common words and stuff towards the beginning. So today we're going to talk about home and family. Don't look for any patterns in grammatical stuff until we eventually get to the blue book. That's where it's just structured. Here's the nouns, here's everything that we need to learn about nouns, here's adjectives and so on. In this one, here's a bunch of stuff. Learn it. This will help you speak and get on your feet. Grammar is going to be in the blue book. Good? Okay. So, chapter 11, page 38, home and family. We're going to learn about possessive pronouns and prepositions. And if you don't know what those are, I will share with you. I first learned what grammar was. I first learned really about English grammar when I took Latin in the seminary. I didn't really learn English grammar when I was learning English or when I was in high school. It just wasn't like that something that was that much stressed. So if you're like learning this language and you see the word preposition and you don't know what preposition is, do not panic. I know a lot of you have the tendency to panic, like I do. Just breathe. You're learning a new word, and now you know what the preposition is. It's going to be okay. Good? All right. Possessive pronouns in English are words that show ownership, like the word my. My, when you say it's my phone or my bottle of water, it means that it's yours, right? It reflects ownership. My in the phrase my house, and your as in your boat. That is what a possessive pronoun is. The name kind of makes sense, it's logical. In Chaldean, instead of using independent words, there is a way to say this using a separate word, but I'm not going to teach you that because it's a little bit less common. Instead of using independent words, endings are attached to the end of the noun that we're talking about. In the previous chapter, you saw this phrase. Everyone say, Besma Gyanuch. This literally means, your soul be pleased, or may your soul be pleased. So the second word, Gyanuch, is a combination of the word for soul, Gyana, everyone say Gyana. And the ending that indicates your, everyone say Uch. So Gyana, Uch, don't say that. Gyana plus Uch ends up becoming Gyanuch. Now, there are two ways you can go about learning how this works. One is you can attempt to write down a whole bunch of rules about vowels, and about if it's this vowel and then it's this vowel, then it turns into this vowel. And you can write a bunch of rules, and then you can have your readers memorize those rules. That will cause them to have a stroke. And I don't think that's how you're supposed to learn a language. Most grammar books, or many grammar books, are written in that way, where they'll tell you this is how the technical things work, and the vowel moves like this and that, and when you have two short vowels, it turns into one long. I've seen those grammar books. They're a nightmare, and I think they hurt more than they help. It's much better to learn a language the way that, to learn a language assuming that it's a natural thing. Languages are natural things that we are meant to just sort of use in a natural way. They're not like putting together IKEA furniture, where it's all about these technicalities. You'll learn the technicalities while you're learning the language. So how do I, well, it's Gyana Uch, but what happens to the A and the Elap? Gyana Uch, why does it become Gyanuch? Does the A go away? What about the Elap? Does that get, why? Why are you stressing yourself out? Just learn. It's Gyana, and then it's Gyanuch. That's it. You learned it. You're done. Okay? Well, what if, I know. I get stressed out too. You'll get to the what if when you get to it, okay? So, the thing that I want to stress is not what happens to these letters and vowels and stuff as you combine them. The thing that you want to spend your time memorizing, and I really mean memorizing, is these endings that are at the bottom of page 38. So here's the full set of endings. If you want to say something is my, you put this ending on it. Everyone say E. I know this is familiar to a lot of you, but let's work through it systematically. If it's your masculine singular, it's the sound is uch. If it's your feminine, it's ach. If it's his something, I'm going to put this on a noun in a second, but if it's his noun, eh. Or, perfectly valid, there are a couple of villagers, mostly one, eh. They really put some salt on it, okay? Perfectly fine, nothing wrong with that. Her, ah, or ah, if you want to get real salty. Our is an, your is ochun, okay? And then there is a, or ahi. Or there's one village that will say ahen. Ahen. Batnaya will say that. So again, all of it's fine. It's really a dumb idea to criticize one village because it doesn't say things the way you say things. They're all ours, they're all fine. Okay? So let's put this on a noun and see how this works. You can combine these in with any noun to indicate possession. For example, if you want to say my name, so the word for name is shimma. Everyone say shimma. If you want to say my name, you say shimmi. Your name, masculine, is shimmuch. Your name, feminine, is shimmach. His name is shimmeh. Her name, shimma. Our name, shimman. Your name, shimmochon. Their name, shimmei. That's it. Memorize those endings. Memorize them. And because these endings are used all over the place in all kinds of different ways, not just with possessive pronouns. So learn them until they become second nature. So instead of worrying about the and this and the vowel and that, don't stress on that, stress about this. I want you to stress out. There's no learning without a little bit of stress. But the focus of your stress should be these endings. Okay? Have these like they should be part of your DNA by next week. That's how much you should memorize them. Okay? Good. You can also use these endings with some prepositions. What's a preposition? It's a connecting word. Okay? And if you want to say, so remember last week, the phrase shlama illuch. Remember it? Shlama, everyone say shlama illuch. It means peace upon you. So il means upon, illuch upon you. So let's take all these endings and put it on this preposition il. If you want to say upon me, everyone say illi. Upon you, illuch. Upon you, feminine, illach. Upon him, ille. Upon her, illa. Upon us, illan. Upon you, illochun. Upon them, illay. Same exact endings. And they come up over and over and over again. I do want to say this, let me make this note in passing. You're not always going to see people spelling Chaldean the exact same way. There really wasn't a formalized grammar until the blue book that Bishop Sarah and I worked on. There's one or two more now that are coming out, which I'm very happy to see. I'm very happy with competition. It's good for everybody. I believe in that. So there's a couple more. One guy that I know in Michigan just finally published his. He's working on it for a long time. It's pretty good. He and I, it's a guy named Mahar, I forgot his last name. We actually spell things almost exactly the same. So I'm happy that like the other fully like completed grammar is spelling things really well the same way that we're doing it here. So however, you're not going to see everybody write elay with that elehi, that he and yod at the end. Sometimes you'll just see a yod at the end. That's fine. Again, don't panic. Sometimes people spell things differently. Even English, the spelling wasn't standardized when people started to write in English. And people were just sort of doing their best. So that's kind of the way things are working. All right, next page. These endings work with what I am naming the separable prepositions. Separable prepositions are these connecting words that stand by themselves. They don't connect to another word, which we'll see in a second. So the separable prepositions are, if you want to say in, you say bgo. Everyone say bgo. So you can take all these endings. If you want to say, the Holy Spirit is within me, you say, the Holy Spirit, ile bgawi. Everyone say bgawi. In you, bgawuch. Bgawach. And so on with all the endings. And a good way for you to learn the endings is to take these different prepositions and to write them down and put the endings on them, or at least say them out loud. If you want to say after, on page 40, the third line down, after, it's bathar. Everyone say bathar. So if you want to say after me, you say bathri. The next one down is for me, for you. The word for is tal. So if you want to say for me, you say tali. And so on with all the endings. I'm not going to put it all together for you. You have to do some work yourself. For, tal. If you want to say from, you say min. So from me, minni. Now here's what's interesting about these separable prepositions. You can use them by themselves. You can just say from the house, min betha. But you can also say minni. You can attach these things to them. So they are their own words, but you can also put these endings on them. Just like shimma is its own word, but shimmi becomes my name. But minni doesn't mean my from. It means from me. Do you guys see that difference? So the endings it's the same endings, but they have a slightly different meaning here. If you want to say upon, we already saw illi. If you want to say with me, you say immi. So everyone say im. Means with. Immi. With you is immuch. With you feminine is immach. And so on with the rest of the endings. How you guys feeling? I feel good too. I'll feel better when this is over. There are other prepositions that are called inseparable, and they are attached to the beginning of nouns. This is something that's really interesting about Semitic languages. So Chaldean does this, and Assyrian, the Syriac, the older Aramaic does it, Hebrew does this, I'm pretty sure Arabic does it, I don't really know Arabic, but I'm assuming it does it, that there are other ways to say in, or of, or and, or to, and they're not entire words. So if you want to say in, you can say bgo, or you can just say b. Everyone say b. I'm going to use examples right down at the bottom, but if you want to say in, just the letter beth means, and if you take it and attach it to the beginning of a word, so if you want to say, actually just jump down to the bottom chart. In the book, you say bikthawa. In the book. Bikthawa, and it's just written as one word. If you want to say of, it's just d. It's just the letter deleth. So if you want to say of the king, jump to the bottom, you say dmelka. Of the king. Just attach it to the word. If you want to say and, most of us know this, and is just u. The letter wow by itself. If you want to say and the mountain, utura. And the mountain. If you want to say to or for, again, you can say tali, but you can also say li. Sorry, we'll get to that in a second. So li, or just the lemeth, if you want to say to the man or for the man, everyone say l-gawra. Or l-gora. Now, there is one thing that's sort of worth noting. This preposition, lemeth, it does mean to or for. So does actually tali, can also mean to or for. In English, there's a really hard distinction. I brought this, or I prayed to God. You see why it's weird to say I prayed for God? Those are two different things in English. For some reason in Chaldean, it's just the same phrase. That's why, and you'll notice this once in a while if you pay attention, sometimes people whose second language is English, they'll just translate in their head and they'll say, yeah, I was praying for God the other day. And it sounds very weird in English, but what they mean is I was praying to God, but to and for are not distinguished in the language that they're translating from. Does that make sense? You might run into that with like talking to your grandma or something like that. Okay, that's le. If you want to say like, it's the sound. Everyone say. If you want to say like a bear, khdibba. Some of you have had your moms say that to you. It's mean, but moms are mean. Chdibba, like a bear. From the house. Now, so from can be the word min, but it can also just be the letter mim. If you want to go from the house, mbetha. Everyone say mbetha. Perfectly valid. It's not even slang. I used to sort of think, man, instead of saying mbetha, you should say min betha because it sounds more formal. And maybe it's sort of more classic. Hebrew has this. Very, very, like ancient Hebrew has mbetha, has dibba. So don't feel like, oh, it's slang. No. In fact, it's a lot more authentic. Semitic languages are much more authentic the sort of shorter and sweeter they are. As languages, they're built to say a lot in one word. And I think the more you do that, the more authentically you're sort of speaking a Semitic language, including, Chaldean. So now, why am I introducing these in this chapter? If you're wondering why some of the examples above have the... Oh, no, sorry. I don't want to say that yet. So what you can do is take any of these inseparable prepositions, be, de, we. Actually, you can't take all of them. Some of them only. Let's just take be as an example. You can say bi, or buch, or bach. It's not very common, but people understand it. So you can take the endings and put them on beth and lemad. We don't really do it with the ch or the me. Page 41. If you're wondering or panicking why some of the examples above have the vowel under the preposition, why is it bikthawa but it's dmelka? If you weren't panicking before, you're panicking now. It's very simple. This is a simple rule that you can learn. The letter next to it doesn't have a vowel at all. So when the first letter of a word has a vowel, you don't need a vowel on the preposition. Just think about it this way. Just think about languages as natural things. Languages were meant to be pronounced. If you want to say in the book and you don't add a vowel, go back here. If you want to say in the book, bikthawa, but you don't add a vowel, how are you going to say it? Bikthawa. Everyone say bikthawa. Your eyeball is going to pop out of your head. You just can't say it. So if you can't say it, you got to add a vowel. That's just the way languages work. Do not think that languages, like somebody woke up one morning and said, I'm going to create a language and I'm going to write these rules and these are the rules that are going to govern the language. No, people made sounds and they needed to pronounce the sounds, and that's where the rules came from. Okay? I mean, people have done that, like Tolkien did that. He created Elvish and Dwarvish, and then he's like, well, I need to write some books now because I created these languages. Did you know that? Tolkien wrote the Lord of the Rings books because he created these languages and he wanted something to do with them. That's a true story. Okay. Anyway. So if there's no vowel at the beginning and on the first letter of the word, you just can't pronounce it if you add the preposition. So you need to put a vowel on the preposition. That's the rule. Okay? Questions on that material? Let's look at this conversation between Miriam and David. Miriam says, Pshena theluch Dawid. Say it. David replies, Pshena gyanach Miriam. Miriam says, Ani ile nashwathi bgobetha. David says, Many ile b'iwan. Miriam says, Babi uyimmi ile. David says, Umeni ile b'oda d'ichala. Miriam says, Ani ile soti uchalti. Say it. U'emmei chathi u'brata zorta. David says, U'adi kursia palgad odad itawa. Palgad itawa. I lost you. Dmeni ile. Miriam says, Au kursia ilid sawi. Baba rabad bethuthan. David says, Sawa usota إلي ملكة وملكتها دبيثوثا. So you have the translation. Try to match it up. Try to learn something while you're doing it. We're not done yet, but that's kind of part of your homework. Work on that. I'm good on time for once. Let's learn some vocab. Everyone say hammam. Bathroom. Very important word to learn as soon as you get to somebody's house. Everyone say kursiya. Chair. Kitchen, matbakh. Table, mez. So some of these you're recognizing, some of you might recognize, they do have an Arabic origin. I think hammam has an Arabic origin. Matbakh, I think, has an Arabic origin. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. Only a dead language doesn't absorb some words from other languages. And I'm pretty sure the word mez went from Arabic to Spanish. Yep. There's influence between Arabic and Spanish because the Arabs went to Spain. Relatives, everyone say nashwatha. Oh, look at those dots. Remember those plural dots? First time seeing those. Nashwatha, relatives. Stabitha, pillow. You will also see, totally validly, people saying speditha. Everyone say speditha. They're perfectly fine. Do not argue about stuff like this. We have enough arguments. Don't. I see people arguing with me that you shouldn't argue about it. Let it go. It's fine. We have enough arguments with Arabs. Everyone say qanapa. Couch. Shibbak. Window. Shwitha. Bed. Everyone say odad ikhala. Some people say qabba. That's okay too, I guess. Everyone say that means the room of eating, dining room. Everyone say odad itawa. Sitting room. Odad dmacha. The room of sleeping. See the deleth of the bedroom. Everyone say iwan. Den. Everyone say ara, or just ara. Means floor. It can mean earth. It can mean soil. It has a lot of meanings, this word. Everyone say battaniya. Blanket. Be'thutha. Family. So the word be'tha is house. Be'thutha means housiness or family. Everyone say bistana. Garden. There's other words for a garden, but that's a good one. Everyone say dulaba. Closet. This, what?
Is haram blanket or no?
You'll hear that. I think that's an Arabic word, but yeah. Again, so here's another thing. Actually, you bring up a really good point. Every language has synonyms. So calm down. When you learn another word and that also means blanket, do not panic. It's okay for two words to mean the same thing. Every language in the world does it. Good? Okay. I had a student that was just every time, I thought this was that word. I'm like, yes, synonym. 50 times I had to remind him that their synonyms exist. Okay. Okay. Family members at this nice chart, on this nice chart at the bottom. This thing on the left is all the female family members. On the right is the masculine ones. Starting in well, I guess we'll start with the oldest and we'll move down. Grandfather on the right is Sawa. To the left, grandmother is Sota. If you're paying attention, that might indicate something grammatically, that tau might mean that there's a feminine noun going on. Everyone say Baba, father, Yimma, mother. Let's work straight down in the line. So go down to husband is Gaura. So it also means man. So man and husband are the same word. Everyone say Bakhta, wife. Wife also means woman. That's okay. Everyone say Brona, son. Brata, daughter. And then grandson is Nawaga. Granddaughter is Nawagta. These are nice words. Now let's go to your uncles. Go back up here on the right. Your paternal uncle is Amma. Your paternal aunt is Amta, but usually it's pronounced Amta. So for some reason, there's something funny here. Amma is always with a like it's always pronounced heavy. Amta, they usually soften it. I don't know why that is, but that's the way they do it. And then brother is Achona. Okay? Now you go to your mom's side. So this is funny. Your dad's brother is amma. Your mom's brother is khala. Your dad's sister is amta. Your mom's sister is khalta. And then your sister is khatha. Good? And if you want to say cousin, you form it like this. Bard akhoni. Son of my brother. That's how you say nephew. If you want to say daughter, if you want to say my cousin, that's the problem is there's no word for cousin at all. You have to say which cousin. Is it your dad's brother's kid, dad's brother's son, your dad's brother's daughter, your dad's sister's son, your dad's sister's daughter, your mom's brother's son, your mom's, and so there's a different phrase for all of those. Just accept it. That's just there's no fixing it in the language. It's better. Amy is saying it's better. I agree with you. So if you want to say the daughter of my maternal uncle, everyone say Baratad Khali. Okay? So the rest of those possibilities is a good homework assignment. You can say, okay, what about your paternal uncle's son? Bard Ammi, and so on. So you can do all that as a kind of part of your homework. The homework is there. Write those in English, write those in Chaldean, write some phrases, read through the conversation. I think that's it for today.